The harvest of the previous octave was the creator of love, manifested in mind, body, and spirit. This form of the creator experiencing itself may perhaps be seen to be the first division of consciousness. The first beings of mind, body, and spirit were not complex. The experience of mind-body spirits at the beginning of this octave of experience was singular. There was no third density for getting. There was no veil. The lessons of third density are predestined by the very nature of the vibratory rates experienced during this particular density, and by the nature of the quantum jump to the vibratory experiences of fourth density. Consider, if you will, the tendency of those who are divinely happy to have little urge to alter or better their condition. Such is the result of the mind-body spirit, which is not complex. There is the possibility of love of other selves and service to other selves, but there is the overwhelming awareness of the Creator in the self. The connection with the Creator is that of the umbilical cord. The security is total. Therefore, no love is terribly important. No pain is terribly frightening. Therefore, no effort is made to serve for love or to benefit from fear. Such conditions created the situation of a most pallid experiential nexus in which lessons were garnered with the relative speed of the turtle to the cheetah. However, the nature of third density is constant. Its ways are to be learned the same, now and ever. Thusly, no matter what form the entity, whether a mind-body-spirit or a mind-body-spirit complex facing these lessons, the lessons and mechanisms are the same. The Creator will learn from itself. Each entity has unmanifest portions of learning, and most importantly, learning which is involved with other selves. The third density is, by its very fiber, a societal one. There are societies, wherever there are entities, conscious of the self and conscious of other selves, and possessed with intelligence, adequate to process information, indicating the benefits of communal blending of energies. The structures of society before, as after veiling, were various. However, the societies before veiling did not depend in any case upon the intentional enslavement of some for the benefit of others, this not being seen to be a possibility when all are seen as one. There was, however, the requisite amount of disharmony to produce various experiments in what we may call governmental or societal structures. There was no unconscious slavery, as we call this condition, at that period. At the present space-time, the condition of well-meant and unintentional slavery are so numerous that it beggars our ability to enumerate them. There is infinite diversity in societies, under any circumstances. There were many highly technologically advanced societies, which grew due to the ease of producing any desired result, when one dwells within what might be seen to be a state of constant potential inspiration. That which even the most highly sophisticated, in our terms, societal structure lacked was, given the non-complex nature of its entities, what we might call will, or, to use a more plebeian term, gusto, or elan vital. The difference betwixt mind-body-spirits and mind-body-spirit complexes is a forgetting within the deeper mind. Physical appearances and surface and instinctual activities are much the same. The body of a mind-body-spirit before veiling showed all the signs of aging, which acquaint us now with the process leading to the removal from third density incarnation of the mind-body-spirit complex. There has been that which is called disease, both venereal and others. However, since the venereal disease is in large part a function of the thought forms of a distorted nature, which are associated with sexual energy blockage, the venereal disease is almost entirely the product of mind-body-spirit complexes interaction after the veiling. Each portion of the body complex is in a state of growth at all times. The reversal of this is seen as disease and has the benign function of ending an incarnation at an appropriate space-time nexus. This was the nature of disease, including that which we call venereal. The source was as random as the nature of disease distortions are at heart in general. The patterns of illness, disease, and death are a benignant domain within the plan of incarnational experience. As such, some healing would occur by decision of mind-body spirits, and incarnations were experienced, with the normal ending of illness to death, accepted as such since without the veil, it is clear that the mind-body spirit continues. Thusly, the experiences, both good and bad, or joyful and sad, of the mind-body spirit before veiling would be pale, without vibrancy or the keen edge of interest, that such brings in the post-veiling mind-body spirit complex. The inchoate structure of the healing and review of the incarnation between physical incarnations was always in place, but where there has been no harm, there need be no healing. This, too, may be seen to have been of concern to Logoi, which were aware that, without the need to understand, understanding would forever be left undone. Each incarnation is intended to be a course in the Creator knowing itself. No portion of the Creator audits the course, to use our experiential terms. A review, or shall we say, to continue the metaphor, each test is an integral portion of the process of the Creator knowing itself. Each incarnation will end with such a test. This is so that the portion of the Creator may assimilate the experiences in yellow ray, physical third density, may evaluate the biases gained, and may then choose, either by means of automatically provided aid, or by the self, the conditions of the next incarnation. The nature of time-space is such that a lifetime may be seen whole, as a book or record, the pages studied, riffled through, and reread. However, the value of review is that of the testing, as opposed to the studying. At the testing, when the test is true, the distillations of all study are made clear. During the process of study, which we may call the incarnation, regardless of an entity's awareness of the process taking place, the material is diffused and over-attention is almost inevitably placed upon detail. Thus, the testing upon the cessation of the incarnative state is not that testing which involves the correct memorization of many details. This testing is rather the observing of self by self, often with aid, as we have said. In this observation, one sees the sum of all the detailed study, that being an attitude or complex of attitudes, which bias the consciousness of the mind-body spirit. Let us continue the metaphor of the schooling, but consider the scholar as being an entity in our younger years of the schooling process. The entity is fed, clothed, and protected, regardless of whether or not the schoolwork is accomplished. Therefore, the entity does not do the homework, but rather enjoys playtime, mealtime, and vacation. It is not until there is a reason to wish to excel that most entities will attempt to excel. There was little enough tendency for experience to polarize entities that entities repeated habitually the third density cycles many times over. The necessity for graduation to fourth density is an ability to use, welcome, and enjoy a certain intensity of the white light of the one infinite Creator. The measurement would be that of an entity walking up a set of our stairs, each of which was imbued with a certain quality of light. The stair upon which an entity stopped would be either third density light or fourth density light. Between the two stairs lies the threshold. To cross that threshold is difficult. There is resistance at the edge, shall we say, of each density. The faculty of faith, or will, needs to be understood, nourished, and developed in order to have an entity which seeks past the boundary of third density. Those entities which do not do their homework, be they ever so amiable, shall not cross. It was this situation which faced the Logoi prior to the veiling process being introduced into the experiential continuum of third density. The Logos is aware of the nature of the third density requirement for what we have called graduation. All the previous, if we would use this term, experiments, although resulting in many experiences, lacked what was considered the crucial ingredient, that is, polarization. It was desired that the potential for polarization be made more available. Prior to the Great Experiment, a mind-body spirit was capable of controlling the pressure of blood in the vein, the beating of the heart, the intensity of the sensation of pain, and all the functions now understood to be involuntary or unconscious. The function of pain at that time was as the warning of the fire alarm to those not smelling the smoke. The knowledge of the potentials of the physical vehicle before the veiling offered the mind-body spirit a free range of choices with regard to activities and manifestations of the body, but offered little in the way of the development of polarity.